Hey guys, TKC here, back with my part 2 of the Kaijudo Championship recap, my Kaijudo Championship vlog, whatever you want to call it. Awesome stuff. So, Sunday, this is the big day for the competitors. The championships are about to begin. Awesome stuff. Everyone gets their snow fort, for entering the Community Cup or the championship, so I entered the Community Cup, of course. And this time I decided to go with a really fun deck because, I already was out of the contention for the championships. So I'm like, alright, let's have some fun. I'm going to make a really, really fun deck for the Sunday. So I decided, okay, so Bottle is now retired. So what am I going to do now? Because I always loved using those kind of Bottle decks just for fun. But I said, okay, let's use Megaria the Deceiver. It's basically almost the same concept. It's basically Bottle on a level 7 creature in a way. So I'm like, alright, I'm going to use this. I'm going to use a Veil Slip Megaria control deck, and I had an absolute blast playing the deck. Overall, there was 6 rounds, and I went 4-2, believe it or not. I really wasn't expecting that. I was expecting to go like 2-4 or worse, because my Megaria would always miss or something like that. But basically my deck was like 3 Megaria, 3 Veil Slip, a bit of ramp, blockers, and then like the other half of the deck was basically all super rares, all big creatures and stuff like that. Like Almighty Colossus, Kurigar, Val Malvictus, Haven, Cassiopeia, and the list goes on and on and on. I'm probably going to do a deck list in the future just to show you guys what I played, because it's a really, really fun deck, and I highly suggest you give it a shot if you have all these cards. It's really, really fun, and I think it could definitely use some tweaking as well, so I could definitely use some tips and suggestions there. Some notable people I went against none other than Rob Gruber in, I believe it was around 3 or 4 or something like that, and very, very cool guy, of course, from the Good Times games. Really cool. He passed me these Good Times games dice. It's really hard to see. Good Times games. Anyway, there's a Good Times games right there. Really cool. Thank you for that. I signed his mat to bring back to British Columbia, and I'm sure the kids are loving all the autographs there, and the really awesome mat. I believe they also Skyped while he was there. Rob said hi to Good Times Games and all the kids and stuff. Really cool. Thank you for all that, Rob. Really, really cool guy. So yeah, 4-2. Did pretty good. So because I got 4 wins, I got 1 pack for entering and then 4 packs for each of my wins. So that was the equivalent of 5,000 points. So I went to the prize wall. I'm like, okay, what am I going to get? And I decided to get this Infernus mat. Awesome stuff. Well, I actually got a Dracothane mat, but my buddy Alex, really cool guy, he decided to trade in his Dracothane for the Infernus mat. So yes, thank you very much. So now we have an Infernus mat and a Dracothane mat. Really cool. And then I also got a pack of Tritona sleeves because, why not? I had 1,000 left, so there you go. So that's pretty much what I got with my points, and then I said, alright, let's go check out what's going on in the championship. So I took, a couple notes on what a lot of the people were playing and stuff like that, and surprisingly, I was really shocked by this, but the most played deck at the championships was Kalima. And I'm not too surprised because Kalima just seemed like a really strong deck for the field. If I was in the championships with that meta there, I would have went with either Dragons or Kalima. So Kalima is definitely a really strong choice. The second most popular choice, I believe, was Haven control. There was a lot of Haven running around. And then of course, there was Corrupted, a lot of different tempo decks. Like there was only 1 Megabugs, there was maybe 1 or 2 Corrupted, there was a Blurple, things like that. There was a lot of Lightwater Nature tempo shenanigans there instead of Megabugs. And then Rush decks, there really weren't many Rush decks. I think there were only like 4 or 5 or so, and then there was a good handful of dragons there too. So the meta was, pretty diverse, but also not too crazy. A lot of people didn't want to go too far with Invasion Earth because it was kind of a really new meta. A lot of people played it safe. But I believe Ricky Grossi's a 5 Civ Corrupted deck. It was really, really cool. A lot of people kind of broke the mold, so it's really nice how, not everyone was playing it safe. A lot of people were trying out some really cool ideas. So after 6 rounds, they got a top 8. Really cool. So we got 2 Peach members, Carl Chodo and Dave Pendergrass. Awesome. Carl was using Lightwater Nature Tempo. Dave was using Lightwater Dark Kalima. They got 1 from Draw for Turn, Thomas Rogers. He got there with Bullshack Dragons. Basically, it was Lightwater Dark Fire Dragons, but with Bullshack Dragon in there, because it's really awesome when you do Bullshack Dragon Jump Jets, which he actually pulled off a couple times in the tournament, which is really funny. There was 1 from Cyberlord Games, Noah Kessel. He was using Lightwater Dark Tempo, which is pretty much the deck they've been using all season, even before Invasion Earth. Denver Kaijudo was there. Preston, he got in with a Light Dark Nature Monarch Recursion control deck thing. It was really cool. And then there was 1 from, I guess he's on a team called Team Plum, just to kind of combat Team Peach. That's Bobby Break, of course, the reigning champion, made the top 8 once more. One from Team Apex, Robert Arguelles, buddies with Jera, Kaijudo 24/7, all that. He's there with Lightwire Dark Nature control using like 61 cards. And then lastly, there was one guy who won LCQ last championships, and that's Donny Wilson. And he was using a really cool list. He probably had the best deck in the room. He was undefeated in Swiss, using a 5 Civ control deck. And he had 3 Major Owl and 3 Eternal Haven. And you could just do Eternal Haven, and then you go into Major Owl, who is an 8,500 power blocker who can attack twice against tapped creatures in a way. So that was just madness. Haven into Owl, or how a lot of people were saying it there, AO, just was really, really shocking. Major Owl played a huge role in that tournament, and it was definitely like the most talked about card at the tournament. So definitely go pick up your copies of Major Owl because it's a very, very strong card. My buddy Alex, he went in with a Lightwire Fire Dragons list, and I recommended he use Major Owl. He really wasn't sure about the card at first. He actually thought the card was an evolution creature, and that's why he thought it wasn't that good. But then I told him to read it again, and he's like, whoa, a 4,500 power creature that can, fast attack, get rid of a creature, then untap and get rid of another creature. Really, really strong play. And so he decided to use 2 copies of that in his deck. But unfortunately, he didn't make the cut. He went 4-2. Also, my buddy Jonah was there too. He went 3-3. He was off to a really good start, but then he lost the last 2 rounds, sadly. He was using Water Dark Nature Corrupted, which is a really cool deck. He was using Sabretooth, Squatche Scourge, the vicious one, of course. I think he even had a copy or 2 of the original Squatche Scourge. Anyways, back to the top 8. Rob Gruber commentated with Carl Reddish for the top 8, which is really cool. Then he passed it to another Canadian, me. I decided to go on stream with Carl Reddish. Thank you so much for the opportunity there, Carl. You did an absolutely amazing job, and it was really, really fun commentating with you. So if you want to see me commentating in the top 4 match between Bobby Break and Noah Kessel, you can go ahead and click the link in the description. They have the whole stream archived on twitch.tv, which I guess I'll leave a link to as well. But if you want to see, I guess, my specific part on the stream, I'm going to leave a timestamp there. You can click the link and it'll go straight to my part, so you can go ahead and check that out. Unfortunately, they didn't spell my name right, which is kind of sad. So they spelled my name like Linharas, because I guess when I spelled it out to them, it sounded like I said RAS, but I wanted to say RES. So tears there, but anyways, at least they didn't put an E in my first name because I told them not to. So yeah, it was really fun commentating the match. It was absolutely back and forth. It was just really, really insane. It was a lot of fun. So then after that, the finals, Bobby Break versus Carl Machodo, Earth Power, of course. And it was a very awesome finals. It was between Lightwire Dark Fire Dragons and Lightwire Nature Tempo, which I think Carl had a really, really awesome deck as well. Probably the second best deck there. It was just, it was so, like, it was filled with a bunch of mind games, basically. Like, it was basically making everybody scared of his deck because he had, he had only 2 Cyber Scams, because that way if he, already had 2 on the field, he would search for his deck and then be like, oh no, I don't have my 3rd Cyber Scam. And then they say, aha, it's in his shield, so the shields might not be that good. And, he gets to look at his deck and whatever. Also, the fact that his Lightwater Nature deck wasn't a Mega Bug deck, even though he had cards like Manapod Beetle and Homunculon the Blaster, people were thinking, oh, he's using Mega Bugs. So then, they would just use the removal on Manapod or use the removal on Homunculon so that they can't evolve. Then they're like, aha, just kidding, I have Blunder Beetle Prime, not Hive Queen. And then they pretty much, just lose the game from there. Also, Oathsworn Call was another card that was making waves in the tournament. Oathsworn Call is a Shield Blast. Bam, you pop in a level 6 or less creature for 5 mana. And then boom, it has blocker. So you could put in, Lyra, General Finbar, and stuff like that. You give it blocker, and then you would attack and be like, oh no, it has blocker, I forgot. And then, like, a lot of people apparently made that mistake and just, ran their creature into a blocker, and they're like, ah, dang it. So his deck was very, very tricky, very, very smart, and so that's probably why he got a really, really good place. He got 2nd place. He lost to Bobby Break, none other than Bobby Break, the reigning champion who wins back-to-back championships, and he was using Lightwire Dark Fire Dragons with like 3 Jump Jets, 3 Crystal Memory, 2 Mesmerize. It was a very, very cool deck. It was like 45 cards, but his deck was like very, very toolboxy, very, very cool. So props to you, Bobby Break, for winning yet again. So he's going to be back at the Summer Championships because now they finally announced that the winner of the championships gets invited to the next championship, which is really, really cool. So Bobby Break will be in 3 back-to-back championships and see if he could win 3 in a row. I highly doubt it, but you never know. Bobby Break is a really, really good player, and he could pull things off like that if he wanted to. Alright, so that is pretty much it. That's the whole thing right there. You can go ahead and check out the Wizards Kaijudo page. They have a ton of videos there. You could just go ahead and check every single one. Lots of awesome stuff. They have a really cool 15-minute recap video, which I highly suggest you check out. Lots of awesome coverage, really cool video shots and stuff. So highly suggest you go check out their channel. Check out their website too. They got a couple of news posts, including the top 8 deck lists, which I highly suggest you check out if you're curious to see who made top 8 and what decks they were using and stuff like that. So yeah, this is TKC, the Kaijudo channel. I really enjoyed the trip. Thank you all so much. There's so many people to name, to shout out, so you guys know who you are. You guys are really awesome. This is TKC, the Kaijudo channel, signing off. See you next champs, maybe, hopefully. Alright guys, see you later.